Welcome, everybody. In this episode, I want to start a little series about Hedera's Governing Council. And we're going to start with Google today, right? This is going to be a very quick crash course on the basics of what each company is. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Google. That one should be easy. But more so, what are they doing with Hedera's in the council? Are they using Hedera? What are they using it for? If they're not, because not every member of the council is actively using Hedera. They all have nodes and there's certain things of support and governance that they do. But if certain companies like Google aren't currently using Hedera in any real utility sense, I want to go over briefly the hypotheticals, what they could use it for, and just why this is a good fit. Because one of the biggest benefits, or at least pros in my mind, of Hedera that got me really looking at in the first place years ago was this governing council, right? Large ass companies, Fortune 500s, literally some of the largest companies in the world. And I want to start talking about Google's association with Hedera in this one. So as always, if you've been here a few times before, you get anything in this video, please do like and subscribe. It means a lot to me, really helps me out. But regardless, let's move forward and let's talk a little bit about this. So Google is not new to blockchain technology, right? It's been involved with it through Google Cloud. It focuses a lot on the infrastructure tools and specifically enterprise services rather than launching its own cryptocurrency, at least at the moment, right? Big things that Google does is they do node hosting through blockchain node engines. They do a lot of data and analytics through big query public blockchains, everything from Ethereum and Polygon, Solana, and several more. They do a lot of services for developers and enterprise clients on blockchain technology. So they've been in full support for the development and analysis, but it doesn't currently hold or use any cryptocurrency specifically, including Hedera, but it's very well familiar with the space and what is good for it in general. Google Cloud has been experimenting with internal ledger systems for financial institutions for a while. I mean, Google does a lot of payment processing, from everything from Google Play and every single app that is on your phone if you have Android. So they do use this kind of stuff, or have a use for this, for payments, for capital markets, and real-world asset tokenization as a possibility. Some reports mention a project called Google Cloud Universal Ledger, GCUL. I'll probably just go with Google Cloud Universal Ledger. Though this is kind of unverified with public reporting, has not been officially confirmed by Google, but regardless, this does show that Google's exploring ledger infrastructure without issuing a cryptocurrency, which again, emphasizing enterprise control over speculative tokens. Now with a quick little bit of what Google does on its own out of the way, what the hell about Hedera with its governing council? Right? Google joined the Hedera Council back in 2020 alongside IBM, Boeing, and a couple other global enterprises, which in future videos, we'll get to those as well. And as a member, what does Google do? Well, currently it's running the Hedera network node on Google Cloud. Awesome, because every governing council gets at least a node. Right? They participate in the government's decisions, network upgrades, treasury management, and pricing. And when you have a huge tech company like Google, they're very much in the know, right? You get this multifaceted brain pod full of giant ass companies that are trying to help dictate Hedera of what they should do with all the information they have. That is a crap ton of information when you're looking at the council members of Google, Dell, IBM, Aberdeen, and so forth. Right? Google also highly supports Hedera services for developers via cloud infrastructure. Google also supports Hedera services for developers via cloud infrastructure. So importantly, there is no public evidence that Google uses Hedera technology in its internal products like the Google Play, search, or ads. The role currently is governance and infrastructure, not product development. But having the major support for telling people, hey, you can hop on Hedera services, you can use the cloud infrastructure for it, it helps at least with the promotion of the idea of it, and they're not quiet about it. So though Google is not using Hedera directly, it's still a huge partner to have in your corner when it comes to funding, direction, and networking. Though Google doesn't use the Hbar token, as kind of just insinuated, though, it does help out with developers through it. So Hedera services like consensus and tokenization are available through Google Cloud for developers. This is that reach out of helping to get development on Hedera through the Google Cloud. This means Google enables Hedera integration for customers. So it doesn't deploy Hedera-based solutions itself, but it does help enable others to do it. So they're like, I'm not going to necessarily use you, but I'm going to help recruit other people for it. So that alone is kind of having a recruiter of Google in your back pocket's not a bad idea. It has helped pull in developers for dApps onto Hedera already, and there's no reason to think that this isn't going to continue. Now, some of the fun stuff can be, let's speculate. All right. So again, while Google isn't currently deploying Hedera internally, its scale and enterprise focus make a few cases realistic in the near future. And I've got a couple that I feel that are in a ranked by likelihood scenario. And I'll be curious your guys' thoughts down below. If you guys ever heard that Google hops into Hedera to use the hash graph system, what do you think they would use it for? Here are my thoughts. The most likely one, in my opinion, is verifiable data logging and analytics. This is something Hedera already does for it's helped out with SpaceX. There's thoughts that this might be part of what Hedera is going to help out NASA for. They do this for a bunch of things of storing data and keeping it safe, right? Tamper-proof logging of cloud storage data, ad metrics, or supply chain tracking could be huge. And that is something that Google could really use Hedera for. And though there are talks about Google making their own BigQuery blockchain, they could already have one that's made that's not going to cost them. They already help developers hop onto it, so it should be a nice, easy transition. And again, Hedera already does a lot of saving and safety of data, and this could make sense. Even if it's a backup for a cloud, they could always use more backups when it comes to keeping information safe. Privacy is a very big deal, not just in the space, but in general, social security, anything you're putting finances through or personal information, blockchain is going to do both. This is a very realistic scenario. The next most likely case that Google could use Hedera, in my opinion, would be tokenization for enterprise customers of cloud. Right? Hedera is definitely one of the companies in the front for tokenization. There's others, right? We got Ondo that's supported by BlackRock. XRP is going to end up doing some of it, right? I mean, it's not like it's just Hedera, but they're definitely one of the leaders in who's being looked at to be used. And Hedera could definitely power tokenized assets like carbon credits, usage rights, any real-world assets through Google without Google issuing its own tokens. Again, it's going to save Google time, money, and effort to produce this stuff. Might as well just use a partner that they can rely on and that they also help vote to control what happens to it. Now, some things are getting less likely, but still very realistic to me, is sustainability reporting. Hedera has been very upfront about carbon negative certification and trying to help keep things as green as it can be. Like Bitcoin in general is not clean energy being used, so to speak. Right? Hedera is much more carbon friendly with it. And Google has been announcing a lot more about climate goals and trying to keep emissions and everything down. So Hedera would be a good choice for that. Again, to be able to move all information through while keeping a carbon negative footprint, so to speak. Now, this one someone else brought up to me. I don't think this is realistic, but they could, and that's using payments or micropayments through Hedera. Just because Google Pay already has it, I don't know how much money they would end up saving, but we know Hedera is dirt ass cheap and that it's relatively set price for everything. What is it, like 5 or 6 zeros behind the penny? It is very fast, it's very cheap, and you can run a lot. So as Google grows and becomes more of a monopoly than it already is, it is possible that they're going to want to switch micropayments over, because if they can save a couple $100,000 a day or a week, month, whatever, pick your time frame, by using Hedera, I mean, they certainly would. If the bottom line makes a big enough change, it should be a simple transition process for them. Lastly, something I think would be a good idea, but I'm not sold that they're going to do it, is decentralized identity. I think this is a great case for Hedera. There's been talk before about using Hedera for keeping the identity down for like voting rights and everything. I would love Google to do this. I don't think they will, because I think they like having open use and access to personal information like identity. Um, which, I mean, that's own opinions on it. It's in there every time you use a Google product, and we just go down and click accept without reading all the paragraphs of bullshit. And there does talk about how it's easy access, free information essentially about you. So moving something to decentralized identity, which Hedera is also designed for, would be a good public move. And I like the idea, but I don't know if Google would do it because it doesn't directly benefit them. So to wrap this short little video up, yeah, Google as a council member is quite a powerful little endorsement for Hedera. It helps with enterprise positioning in ways that most other crypto companies just don't have that support from, right? Not too many others have backings from, well, we'll get to many more in other videos, but a tech giant like this that helps out with governance, it really does increase trust for other enterprises. Again, when you have a list of certain companies, Google is one that moves the needle. Like, oh, they're supporting them. It really does build up a validity for it. I mean, that's one of the largest things I think for someone who first learns about Hedera, which is huge for them. Again, it roped me into it, realizing all these companies support, use, or help to govern Hedera. I dove in a lot further, mostly because of that reason. It's nice that they have a nice little node operation on Google Cloud. And again, it just shows Hedera is a ledger for business, not hyper memes. And it's one of the big reasons I think Hedera is going to be around for years to come, where I can't say for too many crypto that I'm confident they'll still be here in 10 years. Hedera is definitely one of them I can sit here confidently, and I would bet on it. So there you guys have it. Little information about Google as a governing member for Hedera. I'm going to have more videos like this coming out. I believe IBM is going to be the next one I'm going to do. However, we're going to have up to 39 seats in the Hedera Council. We got, what, 33, 34 of them filled out right now. Let me know which ones you guys are more interested in hearing about. And if you want more details, because I made this, try to keep this kind of simple and straightforward, let me know down below. Thank you guys for being here. I'll catch you guys all around again soon. Peace.